I'm here with my buddy Blake Wilkinson. We're going to do a movement analysis on a three-point shot. Let's do this.
For understanding purposes, I'm going to break it down into 4 different phases: the start phase, the jump phase, the shot phase, and the landing. In the start phase, the motions that are occurring in the upper extremities are head extension, finger flexion, wrist extension, elbow flexion, shoulder internal rotation, elevation, and flexion. In the lower extremities, the ankle is dorsiflexing, the knee is flexing, and the hip is flexing. At the head, the muscles that are being used are the rectus capitis, splenius capitis, and the splenius cervicus. At the fingers, the flexor pollicis brevis, flexor pollicis longus, flexor digiti minimi, flexor digitorum profundus, and the flexor digitorum superficialis. These muscles are isometrically contracting since the angle at which they hold the ball remains the same. At the wrist, the muscles that are being used are the extensor indicus, extensor carpi radialis brevis, extensor carpi radialis longus, extensor carpi ulnaris, and the extensor digitorum, which are slightly concentrically contracting. At the elbow, the muscles that are concentrically moving are the brachialis, the brachioradialis, and the biceps brachii. At the shoulder girdle, there are 3 actions: elevation, internal rotation, and flexion. The serratus anterior, levator scapulae, rhomboids both major and minor, and the trapezius all concentrically contract to elevate the shoulders. The teres major and the latissimus dorsi concentrically contract to internal rotate the shoulders. And the muscles that are flexing shoulders are the biceps brachii, the coracobrachialis, and the pectoralis major, which are also concentrically moving. Other muscles that are involved are the subclavius, supraspinatus, subscapularis, infraspinatus, and the teres minor, which all act as stabilizing muscles for this action. Now moving on to the lower extremities. The foot is dorsiflexing, and because we are going down on these motions, these muscles are actually eccentrically contracting, and they are the gastrocnemius, plantaris, peroneus longus, peroneus brevis, soleus, tibialis posterior, flexor digitorum longus, and the flexor hallucis longus. At the knee, we are also going to be eccentrically contracting the quadriceps, which are the rectus femoris, vastus intermedialis, vastus medialis, and the vastus lateralis. And finally, the muscles involved with the movement of the hip flexion are biceps femoris, semimembranosus, semitendinosus, gluteus medius, and the gluteus maximus, and they are eccentrically contracting. The next phase is the jump phase. The upper body will be the exact same at the start phase, with the fingers flexing, wrist extending, elbow flexing, and the shoulder girdle flexing. Interestingly enough, the lower extremities will be using the same muscles, but instead of them eccentrically contracting, they will be concentrically contracting. At the foot, we will be plantar flexing, which involves the gastrocnemius, plantaris, peroneus longus, peroneus brevis, soleus, tibialis posterior, flexor digitorum longus, and flexor hallucis longus. The knee will be extending, concentrically contracting the rectus femoris, vastus intermedialis, vastus medialis, and the vastus lateralis. The hip will also be extending with the concentric motions of the bicep femoris, semimembranosus, semitendinosus, gluteus medius, and the gluteus maximus. The third phase is the actual shot of the basketball. At the peak, the jump phase of the fingers flexes, wrist flexes, elbow extends, and the shoulders continue to flex through the motion. When the fingers flex, there is a concentric motion of the flexor pollicis brevis, flexor pollicis longus, flexor digiti minimi, flexor digitorum profundus, and the flexor digitorum superficialis. At the elbow, the triceps brachialis and the anconeus concentrically contract to extend the joint. The muscles that flex the shoulder are the anterior portion of the deltoid, biceps brachii, corobrachialis, and the pectoralis major, which are concentrically moving. The final phase is the landing phase, which reflects the start phase of the lower extremities. It occurs when the foot dorsiflexes, the knee and the hip flexes. At the ankle, the following muscles will be eccentrically contracting to brace the ankle. At the knee, we are going to be eccentrically contracting the following muscles. The hip will also be contracting with an eccentric motion of the following muscles.
That's the movement analysis of a 3-point shot. Thanks, guys.